We live in a world full of noise, constant demands, and other things that can get under our skin easily. But imagine being that person who walks through chaos completely unafraid. The kind of person who is unbothered, calm, and in control of no matter what is going on around them. Sounds powerful, right? Today, we'll look at 10 lessons on how to master this unbothered state of mind that are based on ancient Stoic wisdom. These aren't just nice-to-know suggestions. They're steps you can take to change how you deal with small and big problems in life. These lessons will help you become less easily upset by showing you techniques that ancient philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca used, as well as simple changes in the way you think that you can start using right away. Let's start if you want to get your peace back and learn how to act as if nothing bothers you. Remember, if this speaks to you, click the subscribe button to join us on our journey to make you better and more resilient. Lesson number 1. Master your mindset. Every single thing starts with your mind. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was a former slave, is credited as saying that man is disturbed not by things but by the views he takes of them. The way in which we choose to interpret events makes up a significant portion of the emotional experiences that we have. When we come to develop a mindset that allows us to view every circumstance with a calm and detached perspective, things lose their ability to agitate us. Imagine the following scenario. You are already standing in traffic when all of a sudden the car in front of you cuts you off. It is possible that your initial emotion will be of rage or irritation, but you should ask yourself whether your response is beneficial to the circumstance or whether it merely makes your tension worse. To perceive this moment for what it really is, Epictetus would encourage you to see it for what it is, nothing more than a car going in front of you. We imbue events with multiple levels of meaning, even when in truth they are relatively neutral. To get started, take a moment to observe your thoughts during times like these and ask yourself, is this something that is worth my energy? If you want to avoid becoming caught up in your feelings, you should make an effort to perceive things in their true form, rather than in the way that you dread or assume they are. A regular amount of practice is required to adopt this mindset. You may try this exercise if something bothers you. Mentally take a step back and explain it to yourself as just a moment, rather of immediately feeling wounded or defensive when you hear criticism at work. For instance, try to view it as nothing more than feedback. If you want to improve, you should ask yourself, can I use this to improve? I am overjoyed if the response is yes. Let it go if it is not. Instead of allowing experiences from the outside world to dictate how you feel, this gives you the ability to choose how you react. Daily reflection is yet another helpful skill that can assist you in mastering your thinking. Epictetus instructed his students to reflect on each day, analyzing the times when they were able to maintain their composure or when they allowed their feelings to take over. At the end of the day, set aside some time to think about the following question. Did I allow something insignificant to disrupt my tranquility today? What are some ways that I could have answered more effectively? Through this method, you will be able to acquire the ability to gradually alter your responses over the course of time, so becoming more resilient and conscious. Also, keep in mind that no one can become a master of their mind quickly. The Stoics were among the people who believed in the concept of constant development. You'll discover that the highs and lows of life don't have as much of an effect on you as you get better at observing circumstances with a clear mind. Every day is an opportunity to improve this ability, which will get you closer to having a calm and unruffled frame of mind. Lesson number 2. Don't take anything personally. The manner in which people treat you frequently reveals more about them than it does about you. People will behave in accordance with their nature. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius stated in his Meditations, "We are not given control over the actions of other people. Only our responses are under our control." Always keep in mind that when someone criticizes you or makes an attempt to provoke you, it is frequently a reflection of their own anxieties or concerns. Give up the desire to protect yourself from everything, and you will find that you have an inner calm and strength that no one else can take away from you. When you think about it, how often do you let the words of another person to spoil your day, even when you know, deep down, that the words they said were inaccurate or inappropriate? When you allow yourself to be affected by something, you give someone else the ability to manage your feelings. Marcus Aurelius held the belief that our inner tranquility is a holy virtue that must not be traded away simply because someone is having a difficult day. The majority of individuals' unpleasant acts stem from their own troubles, and they project those struggles onto other people. Recognize this fact. You can liberate yourself from the burden of bearing their problems if you do not take in their negative energy. When you're confronted with criticism or the rage of another person, think of an invisible barrier surrounding you, safeguarding your peace of mind. This is a good practice. Imagine that the negative energy is left outside of you and is bouncing off of you. Remind yourself that you are alone responsible for your own mental state, and not even for the mental state of other people. You will be able to save your energy for the things that are actually important, and you will be able to avoid taking on tension that is not required. The adoption of this strategy does not include dismissing comments that could be beneficial to your development or ignoring criticism that is helpful. On the contrary, it's about determining what is worthy of your attention and what is only an unneeded drain on your well-being. If the remarks of another person are more about their own problems than they are about you, you should let them go. It is possible to develop a type of calm confidence by learning to detach oneself from the reactions of other people. When you are no longer influenced by every single comment, you will begin to experience a new-found sense of control over your life. Your value is not contingent on the opinion of another person, and you are free to pursue your goals without the need for acceptance or validation from other people. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Keep this in mind. Lesson number 3. Practice detachment from outcomes. Another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, preached that we have to be prepared to accept any outcome without letting our tranquility be disrupted. He was quoted as saying, "A man who is afraid of death will never accomplish anything that is worthy of a man who is alive." This insight should not be limited to concerns about our own death. Rather, it should be applied to all of our attachments and expectations. One of the things that frequently causes us concern is not the actual events that take place, but rather our attachment to the way that we believe things ought to be. The Stoics, however, remind us that while we have power over our actions, the outcome is frequently beyond our control. Imagine doing something similar to planting a seed. There is no way to make it grow more quickly or ensure that it will blossom, even if you plant it in healthy soil, water it, and expose it to sunlight. Put your attention on the things that you are able to do, such as planting the seed, tending to it, and then letting go of it. Having this frame of mind will relieve you of the stress that comes from trying to exert control over things that are beyond your control. Additionally, the beauty of detachment is that it lessens the fear of failing, which is a significant benefit. You are able to tackle obstacles with a lighter heart and a clearer mind if you are not going to be preoccupied with a specific outcome. Distancing yourself from the outcome does not mean that you should not care or offer your best effort. That you do not let the success or failure of an endeavor determine your level of enjoyment or your sense of self-worth is what it means. It is also true that this distance makes you more resilient. In the event that one of the outcomes does not go according to plan, you are prepared to make a change without being crushed by disappointment. Seneca was of the opinion that we can better prepare ourselves to deal with the unpredictability of life if we center our attention on the effort rather than the result. By reminding yourself, "I will give this my best, and whatever happens, happens," you may put this detachment into practice in your day-to-day life. This is a useful method to practice it. It is possible to alleviate the urge to constantly worry or stress over the outcome if you acknowledge that it is not totally within your control. And if you make this a habit, you will discover that your life eases up significantly, as you will no longer be burdened by worries that things will not go exactly as you had intended. Lesson number 4: embrace the power of silence. Silence can be your best friend in today's world of rapid reactions. Epictetus advised, "If you do speak, say only what is necessary and in a few words." Epictetus also advised that people should remain silent for the most part. As soon as someone makes an attempt to antagonize you, or when the situation becomes uncomfortable, you should take a deep breath and remain silent. A brief pause like this not only gives you time to reflect, but it also helps you maintain control of the situation. This constraint can say more than words ever could, and silence gives you the ability to reply carefully rather than reacting impulsively. This is because silence allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting automatically. Being silent is a valuable tool since it has the ability to diffuse tense situations and prevent misunderstandings. You can demonstrate to other people that you are not easily rattled or lured into confrontation that is not necessary by going through a brief period of silence. People are more likely to reconsider their words and actions when they perceive that you are not quick to participate in conversation when you remain silent. This is because silence provides a natural barrier. According to the Stoic philosophy, choosing silence allows you to take a moment to observe and comprehend the situation in its whole, which ultimately results in more prudent choices and a more tranquil state of mind. You should give some thought to incorporating a moment of silence rule into your everyday routine. Try to refrain from speaking for a few seconds before responding to a confrontation or a negative situation. The pause that you are taking not only gives you the opportunity to regain your calm, but it also sends a message to everyone around you that you will not be drawn into any drama. When people are confronted with silence, they frequently experience discomfort. As a result of this discomfort, they may have the realization that they are in the wrong, or may rethink their attitude. It is not necessary for you to speak in order to protect your peace, disarm negativity, and prevent escalation. All of these things can be accomplished through silence. Also, keep in mind that you are not required to respond to every opinion or any comment that is made. Recognizing when it is appropriate to maintain silence is a sign of strength. Marcus Aurelius gave the following piece of advice: "Do not waste any more time arguing about what a good man ought to be. Become one." There are times when the most effective reaction is to just live according to your principles and let your actions to speak for themselves. A sign of self-respect and self-control is the acceptance of silence, which is not a sign of weakness. Lesson number 5: Focus on what you can control. Stoicism teaches that we only have power over our own acts, ideas, and responses. This is one of the major doctrines contained within the Stoic philosophy. On a daily basis, Marcus Aurelius would remind himself of this fact by writing, "You have power over your mind, not over events that occur outside of you." Recognize this, and you will discover the strength you need. By concentrating on the things that are under your control, you can prevent yourself from being agitated over things that are, in reality, of no consequence. You learn to channel your energy into what you can alter and let go of the rest of the things that are beyond your control. This allows you to avoid spending energy on things that are beyond your control. Imagine a scenario in which you are waiting for someone who is running behind schedule. You are unable to adjust the amount of time that has already gone, nor are you able to control the traffic that they are currently caught in. However, you have the ability to regulate your thoughts, your patience, and the way in which you choose to spend that time. Consider taking advantage of those extra minutes to take a deep breath, contemplate or think about something positive rather than allowing yourself to become frustrated. You may maintain your composure and steer clear of stress that is not essential if you concentrate on managing your response rather than the event. In order to put this into action, you should attempt applying the control filter throughout the day. When anything concerns you, you should ask yourself, is this something that I can control? If the response is negative, you should let it go. If the answer is yes, then you should take action. For instance, if you are confronted with criticism at work, you are unable to control the opinions of other people, but you are able to control how you respond to it. You have the option of allowing yourself to feel wounded, or you can take the feedback in an objective manner and determine whether or not it has any worth for your development. You reclaim your power by concentrating on the things that are within your sphere of influence. Strengthening your resilience can also be accomplished by concentrating on the things that you have control over. If you have taught your mind to focus on what you can control, you will be less influenced by the twists and turns that life throws at you. Life will always throw obstacles and setbacks our way. With this frame of mind, you are able to approach challenges with composure, knowing that even though you might not be able to alter the events that transpire, you always have the ability to choose how you will react to them. In the event that you find that this lesson resonates with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any other insightful lessons like these. Lesson number 6. Practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is a concept that is not expressly discussed in Stoic works, but it is deeply ingrained in the philosophy's theory of human nature. It was a well-known fact among Stoics that no one is perfect and that everyone is prone to making mistakes. A statement made by Seneca was as follows: "No one is so fortunate as not to have someone complain about them." In other words, it is unavoidable that other people will find fault with us, at the same time that we will occasionally find fault with ourselves. Therefore, why are you being so critical of yourself? Because you have already provided yourself with the acceptance that you require, you are less likely to be influenced by criticism from others when you engage in self-compassion practices. Allowing yourself the grace to fall, pick yourself up and keep moving forward is what is meant by self-compassion. To put it another way, think of it as constructing a base of inner support. What can I learn from this? Is a question that you should ask yourself, rather than severely blaming yourself when things do not go as planned or when you feel that you have fallen short of expectations. Instead of ruminating on the things that went wrong, look at them as opportunities for personal development. The Stoics were ardent believers in the concept of self-improvement. Nevertheless, they were also aware that self-criticism exists within certain boundaries. It ought to be constructive rather than destructive. Inner compassion contributes to the development of a mindset that is resilient. If you forgive yourself, you will become less susceptible to being burdened by feelings of guilt or remorse, and you will also become more resistant to the judgments of other people. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If it is something that can be endured, then you should do so. Suppress your complaints." This piece of advice is equally applicable to the way in which we treat ourselves. If you have made a mistake, acknowledge it, accept the lessons you've learned from it, and move on without allowing it to act as a burden on you. Putting in writing the error that you are having trouble with, and imagining that a buddy is telling you that the same thing occurred to them, is a powerful exercise that can help you practice self-compassion. What kind of words would you say to them? What kind of response would you recommend them give? When we are among other people, we are typically a lot more compassionate and forgiving than when we are by ourselves. You may try showing the same kind of kindness to yourself. Self-compassion is not the same as evading responsibility or disregarding your shortcomings. It implies showing oneself respect so that you may tackle obstacles with confidence rather than with self-doubt, but with strength. A sense of confidence that cannot be shaken by the judgment of others is gained when you accept yourself in its entirety. Lesson number 7. Build a healthy buffer zone. Setting boundaries and establishing a mental space in which negativity cannot penetrate is the essence of a healthy buffer zone. Imagine a protective circle surrounding you through which only those things that are favorable or essential can pass. Associate with those who will make you a better man, Seneca told his followers in a letter. Welcome those individuals upon whom you can make improvements. It was important to the Stoics to carefully select the things that have an impact on us. You may create a secure mental space for yourself by being choosy about who and what you allow into your inner circle. This will allow you to maintain your concentration and remain unaffected by things that would normally distract or cause you to feel uneasy. Observing what or who occupies space in your mind is the first step in the process of constructing this buffer zone. Think about the people, the media, or even the behaviors that drain you or distract you from the things that are actually important to you. In the same way that you wouldn't let clutter accumulate in your home, you shouldn't let mental clutter build up in your head. Seneca was of the opinion that strengthening one's character and resiliency can be accomplished by surrounding oneself with favorable influences. You should surround yourself with people who encourage you, who challenge you in a constructive manner, and who bring out the best in you. The act of creating this mental space does not include isolating oneself. Rather, it involves safeguarding one's tranquility. Whenever it is required, establish boundaries. Practice distance, even if it means reducing the amount of time you spend with individuals who bring negativity into your life, or who constantly strive to pull you into fights that are not necessary. If you have people in your life who do either of these things, you should practice distance. Take into consideration the circumstances in which you allow yourself to become involved, and ask yourself whether or not they contribute to your personal development or mental well-being. Always keep in mind that you do not have to participate in everything. The ability to decide what is worthy of your time and effort is totally under your control. The practice of visualizing this buffer zone first thing in the morning is one kind of practical exercise. Imagine that there is a circle around you that only allows things that are beneficial and focused on growth to enter. It is possible that this mental image will serve as a useful reminder that you have control over the things that influence you during the day. This picture makes it easier to maintain a distance from unpleasant situations and to remind yourself that you do not have to allow people or events from the outer world to disrupt your peace of mind. A foundation that enables you to manage the world with a more peaceful and clear mind is created when you develop a healthy buffer zone for yourself. The more you engage in this practice, the more you will discover that negativity from the outside world is unable to assimilate into your life as it once did. Lesson number 8. Reframe negativity as growth. Every difficulty that Marcus Aurelius encountered was viewed as an opportunity for growth personally. To quote what he had said, "The impediment to action advances action. The obstacles that stand in the way end up becoming the path." It is important to remember that rather than allowing negative circumstances to bring you down, you should look at them as opportunities to grow. Each and every obstacle and hassle presents you with yet another chance to strengthen your ability to bounce back from adversity. In this sense, difficulties are transformed into stepping stones rather than barriers when you begin to reinterpret them. Picture yourself in a position at work that is extremely frustrating. You can be dealing with unexpected criticism or a project that isn't going according to plan. It's possible that feelings of defeat or irritation will be your immediate reaction. Nevertheless, if you take a Stoic approach to it, you will see that this difficulty is helping you become more patient, more adept at finding solutions to problems, and more able to maintain your composure in the face of anxiety. You might think of each obstacle as a weight that you lift in the gym. It will make you stronger over time. The obstacle itself becomes a sort of training. In order to put this perspective into practice, take each negative experience and ask yourself, what is it that this is trying to teach me? The fact that you are going through a period of stress may be educating you about the limits of your capabilities and the significance of taking care of yourself. On the off chance that you are being treated unfairly by another person, you may have the chance to exercise self-control and strengthen your boundaries. Through the process of reframing, you are able to take charge of the circumstance and use it as fuel for your growth, rather than allowing it to drain all of your energy. It is important to remember that the challenges we face in life are not intended to break us, but rather to mold us. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, articulated the idea that difficulty does not form a person's character. Rather, it reveals it. This Stoic wisdom is aligned with when you reframe negativity as growth. You come to the realization that every adversity has the potential to bring out a more powerful and educated version of yourself. Keep in mind that the next time you are confronted with a challenge, it is not meant to prevent you from progressing. Rather, it is meant to assist you in reaching a higher level. Lesson number 9. Keep your long-term vision in mind. Because we are so focused on the broader picture, we frequently allow trivial and unimportant matters to cause us stress. Within the context of his existence, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the majority of his day-to-day concerns were insignificant. As he wrote, "If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it." He would examine himself if the acts he was taking were being in line with his objective. We can use this knowledge to help us look past transient annoyances and concentrate on what is genuinely important. Ask yourself, will this still matter in a month, a year, or 5 years from now? If you start to feel irritated by something, you may learn to let go of the little things and maintain your focus on your bigger mission if you establish a long-term vision in which you always look ahead. Utilizing this exercise will assist you in prioritizing. When you are working toward a goal that is vital to you, the insignificant obstacles or inconveniences that you encounter will not appear as significant. Imagine you have set a goal for yourself to better your abilities, strengthen your relationships, or accomplish a significant personal milestone. Does it really make a difference if someone cuts you off in traffic, or if you are reprimanded for something that is relatively insignificant? When you are focused on where you are going, these minor annoyances that you encounter on a daily basis become minor obstacles on a much greater journey. Marcus Aurelius advocated for putting an emphasis on virtue and purpose rather than transitory feelings to guide his approach. As soon as you adopt this frame of mind, you begin to eliminate anything that does not correspond with your core beliefs or your idealized version of yourself. You become a master of your focus, determining what warrants your attention, rather than reacting to every minor nuisance that comes your way. This long-term vision not only contributes to the attainment of inner serenity, but it also provides you with a robust sense of direction, which makes it simpler to disregard distractions and irritations. One fast exercise you could try is to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and start visualizing your ultimate goals whenever something irritates you. Contrast that minor problem with the broader purpose you have for your life. This shift in perspective might help you overcome dissatisfaction by demonstrating that it is ideal to conserve your energy for experiences that are actually significant. Lesson number 10. Embrace the act as if mindset. Last but not least, the act as if mentality is an extremely potent one. Even if you aren't feeling unbothered, you should act as if you are. According to a quote attributed to Marcus Aurelius, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, if you start embodying the behaviors and attitudes of someone who is calm, steady, and unshaken, you'll gradually convert into that person. This is not merely a matter of pretending. Rather, it is about training both your mind and your body to react to situations in a manner that demonstrates strength and resilience. If you act as if nothing bothers you, you will discover that very little actually does worry you over the course of time. This way of thinking is effective because the activities you conduct serve to reinforce the beliefs that you already have. You send a powerful message to your brain that you are in control of the situation when you act with composure, even if you're feeling nervous or frustrated on the inside. As time goes on, you will notice that your first responses to situations become less acute. As an illustration, if you are confronted with criticism rather than reacting defensively, you should take a deep breath, keep your composure, and respond with some thinking. This not only gives the impression of tranquility to other people, but it also rewires your internal response to situations like these. The Stoics held the belief that our acts and thoughts, when repeated, shape who we are. Epictetus is credited with saying, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." When you choose to identify yourself by strength, rather than by the feelings that are occurring in the present moment, you are choosing to act as if you are unbothered on a constant basis, even when you are confronted with discomfort or difficulty. Over time, you train yourself to respond with resilience, and eventually this response will become as natural to you as breathing. Make an effort to put this into practice the next time you find yourself in a circumstance that seems overwhelming. Stand tall, take deep breaths, and answer in the same manner that someone who is not shaken would. Over the course of time, the difference between acting and being will narrow, and you will find that you are able to feel more comfortable living as that person. Here you have it, 10 timeless teachings on how to act as if nothing bothers you, with a little bit of wisdom from the Stoics sprinkled in along the way. It is important to keep in mind that this is not about pretending or putting things aside. Rather, it is about learning to live with an inner peace that enables you to weather any storm. So which of these lessons struck a chord with you the most? Comment below and let's discuss how we can all become a little more resilient and unshakable. In addition, if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to receive additional stuff that will help you manage your mind and thrive in life. Thank you for watching, and until we meet again, remember to keep your cool and keep moving forward.